Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Logan. So Logan, welcome.
It's nice to be here.
Awesome, man. So you've recently got officially typed as an ESFP, but what kind of ESFP did you get typed as? So can you give us your exact ESFP type along with your animals and sexual modalities?
Yes, I'm a consume sleep ENFP. So it's consume sleep play blast, and then double masculine.
And then what did you think and how did you feel when you got your results back?
I've been getting into this the system for like 8 or 9 months, and so I've had help. My wife and my brother, they both got into the system at the same time as I did. They both hit the ground running harder than I did. Like it took some convincing for me in a lot of areas. So we've been typing each other and helping each other through this because whenever I finally got to Dave and Shan, said, "Okay, I'm ready." I was actually really close. We had the type I sent to Dave and Shan that I thought I was the same exact thing except ISFP. I figured that maybe I was playlast also and that I had double activated NI, but I mean, I didn't understand the extent of how bad the NI was until I got on the phone call with Dave. And like I asked him questions. I was like, what about this? What about that? What about that? And he had answers for everything. And I was like, damn. But yeah, that's the story basically.
Okay, so before we started the interview, I was kind of already bringing up that NI. So let's go jump in right into your NI. Where in your life have you gotten tripped up as a result of, disrespecting the NI or not using NI? I'm just looking at your function here, and it looks like you have feminine NI also, which makes it even harder to use. So let's talk about that.
It's hard for me to think of what I'm doing wrong, since at times in my life it seems like I'm peacocking it so hard. Like, but I think most of the ways that it shows up in my life, like every day, is I have trouble like working through like like things in my body. Like I'll feel like something in my chest, and I'll think that I'm dying. Like, or it's mostly like anxiety, where like I think that something bad is going to happen, but I can't figure out what or why, or my guesses are just terrible. I'll like have a guess as to what I think might be wrong, and I'm totally off. So mostly that shows up as anxiety because it's so like nondescript in terms of like where I think it's coming from and what it's doing to me and all of that kind of stuff. So like I I have trouble talking about it because I can't really like put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But I think that it really shows up in like that catastrophizing problems, because I can't really make the connections between what I'm experiencing and what the problem is.
Gotcha.
It's not fun.
Because it's also a demon, because you have demon N, would you say you have trouble planning?
I have trouble planning practically. Like, I mean, it's more like having trouble sticking to plans, because I can plan all day and say, oh, I'm going to do this and oh, I'm going to do that. But it's hard to have any amount of rigor about it, because I can do it for that long, I guess,
Right.
and then like I can like pretend I have the answer and know what I need to do, but like it just has no like stopping power.
Got it. Um, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you right now?
26.
26? Okay. What is your 10-year plan? Like, what's your goal for the next 10 years?
Okay, so it's not like I don't like being forward thinking.
Yeah.
It's that most of my plans have to do with me being more comfortable. So like it's not about like succeeding
Yeah.
or like achieving like something that I want to achieve in the future. Because when I was like, fresh out of high school, like going into college, I was like, I want to get married. And then I found the perfect girl and I did it, and I'm like, done. Donezo. 100%. I 100%ed life. Like,
And I guess
but so what was that?
no, I was gonna ask you. So I guess you didn't plan for what's next afterwards.
It's I'm just so happy. Like, it's not a matter of like I guess I would plan if I wasn't going well. But like for me, I want to keep doing what I've always done forever. Like, so I'm not very EP like in terms of like because I don't have that play energy, and I don't have like that need for new, because I like the new that I have. I don't know how to explain this, but like I'm not a big new person. I kind of just want to keep feeling comfortable. I want to keep increasing the things in my life that make me comfortable, and planning for things to make me more comfortable in the future. Also like providing for my wife and stuff, but like I don't even have a lot of great plans for that.
So would you say you're gathering things that make you comfortable? Like, do you buy like a nice couch, a nice bed, a comfortable bed? So you're still gathering as a result of being an
Yeah.
E but you're gathering things that makes you comfortable.
I'm also gathering the types of like TV shows and media that make me happy, and it's always the same kinds of TV shows and media, because I know like exactly what I like. And I know when I see something whether or not I like it.
Yeah.
So like I just want to keep doing that forever and ever and ever. And I'm sure like that's the whole point, right? Is that that's going to come eventually and hit me like a truck. And it's going to be like, you shouldn't have done that the whole time. But hasn't happened yet, and I'm just going to keep doing this.
You know, it does sound like you're using some NI though, because NI likes to, they have a box, right? And they try to stay within the same concept. So for you, your NI is comfort. That's your NI. It's comfort. So you're gathering things to put in that NI box. You're gathering TV shows, entertainment, anything of comfort that you bring into your home. And it goes to all to your NI box, and your NI box is comfort. And then you just mentioned that it's gonna slap you in the face one day. And I think it probably will, because your NI is not looking at the potential chaos that's going to happen as a result of not looking at other avenues or planning for something else. So that's kind of like where that NI would help you, is that, okay, in 10 years, where do I want to go? Because I know everything's good right now, but what about in 10 years? Like, what could possibly go wrong in the next 10 years? So that's kind of like where the NI would kind of brainstorm.
Right.
Like, because if you want to keep your perfect life right now, then you have to make sure that nothing's gonna ruin that. So you have to kind of figure out, you have to gather like facts,
And at the same time, like my NI is probably more or less what got me here, because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to go towards,
right.
and I made the right decisions to support that, like the future I wanted, and it worked at least once. And it's because while I have single activated feminine I have it in a savior state. So that sleep savior, whenever I'm in that state, it is still a savior state. So that like those moments of reflection, those moments of clarity where I'm really thinking about what I want and what's important to me, the NI is being used in a savior state.
Right.
It's other states. Like you can't just pull it out of a hat and like use it correctly. It has to be within a certain context.
Yeah, you got it spot on, because you do have that FI and NI as a savior, right? Your sleep. So
Yeah.
the NI projects into the future, and FI is how you feel about something, right? So
Yeah.
for example, for you, you wanted to get married in the future with a perfect wife, which you did. So you did follow that NI FI thing that you were, envisioning in your head. So you did make
Yeah.
it, you did make it happen. So that's awesome for you that you did that, but don't stop because you know.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the next like big thing to hit me that like I need,
Yeah.
like the thing that's important. Like there's a lot of things that I want for my wife that I don't necessarily care about for myself.
Right.
Like that I want her to have like a better life. Like even though I'm happy with this one, I want her to be happy with hers. But it's not always clear to me how to achieve that since I can't look inside myself for it. It's like I can talk to her about it, but like I can't see it with the clarity that I can see whenever I look inside myself.
Well, you do have that sleep savior, so I think when it comes to
Yeah.
health, it's easy. It's kind of interesting you mentioned that. I guess you are still a double decider. So for you, you're very balanced with self and tribe, and I would assume that you care a lot about your wife and friends and family. Does that sound about right to you?
Wife,
Wife, okay. So
friends
not
and family. I kind of just, I don't know. I really just need my wife. Friends and family. The whole point is that what made me a double decider over a decider is that I can play the game a little bit. I can play the like, oh, I'm being weird. Nah, like better step on the brakes and do a compliment after this dig. That's really the only thing that made me a double decider was I punch and then I hold up my hands and then I insult and then I compliment.
okay.
Um, and So TE is actually my weakest function since I can't use it in a savior state at all.
Right.
Um, so I still kind of internally feel like a decider, even though I know I'm a double decider. It's really like that TE being used in that dance. It's not used in like any sort of savior state, any sort of like um, I can't use it with any strength.
I think though, because you do have TE as masculine, I think that does help. Would you say that's about right? Like it does help because you do have masculine.
It helps me be a complete asshole. Um, because that TE just jumps in whenever like the FI is hurt or in trouble.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you know it jumps in with like an insult or 1,000 reasons on why I'm right
Yeah.
or why that person's wrong, why that guy's an idiot. You know, I really don't see my TE doing anything good, so I don't see anyone else seeing my TE doing anything good.
Yeah.
But it's not like the decider type of issue where I can't go back and forth between them. So, I mean, I'm very good at coming up with logical reasons for why I think I'm right, but it's really just TE jumping in after the FI, like an overprotective sibling or something.
Now you do have because you have feminine FI and masculine TE, but your savior is actually the FI. It's not the TE, right? So
Right?
it means that you actually lead with your FI. So in your day-to-day life, you're more, I guess, because they say that if you have feminine FI, you're more sensitive then. Um, so is that what you put your foot forward first? It's that sensitive self of yours out. Like you're not trying to shield it right off the bat, unless someone really offends you or hurts you. Would you say that's about right? Like
Yeah,
you put
yeah. Like I'd love to just spend so much time talking about what I like and why I like it, um, and enjoying the things that I like with other people. That would be a savior calm state. But when it comes to like, well, why do you like that? Or like you have to kind of defend that interest, or you have to prove that something is the best over another thing.
yeah.
That's when the TE jumps in. And like FI is like, I'm so sure that this thing is good. I'm so sure that I like this thing. I'm so sure that this thing is the best. And TE's like, well, FI said this. Let's go. Let's attack that guy. Let's get him. Like there's nothing calm about it.
Yeah.
It it it's I saw it in the Pete Holmes video. Did you ever see the Pete Holmes typing video?
No, I have not.
No, it's all good. Basically, it's double masculine. It was also in the Bo Burnham video, I think. It's viewing the tribe as a hostile force, whereas like I guess you see it in Donald Trump too, where it's like internally he's like, everyone's being mean to me. I'm just trying to do my best. But like outwardly he's being an asshole to the
Yeah.
tribe.
Yeah.
Like they deserve the hits.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're aggressing on me,
Yeah.
the soft squishy me in here.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna fight back. You
Yeah.
know, it's double feminine inner world. You know, it's that feminine and I, feminine Fi. So internally I feel very vulnerable, but externally I seem so aggressive and standoffish and like I'm not gonna move.
Yeah.
But inwardly I feel very vulnerable and push onable. So I push harder that way.
Yeah, and you have double masculine play also. So when you're interacting with
Yes.
tribe, it's very aggressive.
It's also ST play, so it's double masculine, double masculine.
Yeah, what's ST play like? That's interesting.
So again, I've only had like really like a week to play with these results, but mostly whenever I get into arguments or discussions, or anytime I'm interacting with the tribe, like say like at college, or I'm talking to my wife and my brother about personality theory, I'm pushing what I'm pushing the learning. Like I'm guessing. I need to be heard. I I want to be I want to be moving the conversation along with what I've learned, what I've consumed. And I kind of I want to say like I'm a little disrespectful when it comes to playing. Like the tribe is very movable during play to me. I don't know. I'm thinking through this. Um, but yeah, play is something that I kind of like commandeer and I run with it because it's about facts in the real world. So, like, say there's like you're in college, right? And there's a discussion. I'm the first person talking. I'm the first person writing answers down. I heard all the information, and everyone's an idiot. So I, it's a demon state.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. You're also energy dominant too, right? So you don't need to have the full information to give an answer, Like you don't need the whole picture. Because you have blast last, right? So you don't have consume and blast in your first top three animal. So that means you're more focused at staying comfortable, conserving energy versus having the most accurate information out there. Like if you're missing some information, who cares? As long as you're not exhausted, you're not tired, you're feeling good. Does that sound about right to you?
At the same time, I would say better than most of my peers at gathering information in the real world. And by that I mean I don't gather superior information. What I mean is that I gather factual information in a savior state. So when it comes to presentations and lectures and and things like that, it's easier for me to gather information, and so I usually have it. Maybe this is just like demon state talk, but in my experience, I am the only person who does the the consuming of the information in like college groups or whatever, and I end up doing all the work. And like for the most part, I'm fine with that because I'm confident in the work that I do. I'm confident that I consume the information correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because you have masculine SE, right? So
Yeah,
you have that confidence when it comes to gathering.
yeah.
Now you're also double masculine, so that means you're kinesthetic and auditory. So would you say that do you like to play sports, or do you like to work out, or do you like to do things with your hands? Do you learn?
Yeah, I'm a guitarist. I've been a guitarist since I was like 13. I've been doing it for half my life. That's anytime that there's any lull in conversation, or anytime there's a guitar next to me and I can pick it up, I do. It drives my wife insane. she wants to burn the thing, but that's my passion. And I can't. That's one of the things I overgather is guitars. I only have 2 at the moment, 3, but I want like 7 more. You know. But yeah, I've been playing guitar for half my life, and I probably spend like 2 hours a day doing it, like just noodling, like in a calm state.
So you said that if you're having a conversation with someone and this conversation is dying off, you would start playing guitar. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah.
So that's where like the assholeness kind of comes out. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of disrespectful. Like you're like, yeah, this is lame, and then you start playing the guitar.
It doesn't feel like that when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
To me, I just feel I want to play guitar right now. That's all I feel. I don't feel like, oh man, fuck this guy. I'm gonna pick up this guitar. He's gonna see me playing it and know that he's a boring piece of shit. No, because a lot of times it's my own wife, and I don't feel that way about her.
Right.
But like I just feel, you know what? Right now I want to play guitar, and then I just pick it up and I start playing it, just so that I'm doing something with my hand, so that like my I'm involved in a task that's I mean I guess it's tactile, but I get like feedback from like my hands doing something. And it's not really expending energy either. It's really just like the tactile feedback between like myself and the outside world, something like that.
Okay, I'm curious about something. When you do consume, I was talking to another person at Double Masculine, and he said that when he listens to audiobooks, he prefers to do it in a car because he said when he's sitting still, he can't learn. But because the car is moving, it's easier for him to learn. So, because there's movement happening, and his hand is on the steering wheel of the car, and he's moving the car. That's when finally he can absorb the information. So does that happen to you, or do you need to relax because you do have that sleep saver? Like, how do you absorb information?
I definitely, it's not a moving around thing. It's I prefer to conserve energy whenever possible. So I don't know if that guy was play, but I don't like. I almost want to say I don't like multitasking. Like I'd rather be doing one thing than another. So I don't relate with that. I do like listening to music in the car because of like the sensory of like the car rumbling, and it's and that's the only thing I can really relate to is that when the car is moving, it's a very calming feeling. But I don't really relate to like taking in information better.
Okay, maybe because the other person has NE and you have NI, so
Oh,
that could be it. Um, you did mention that you like to listen to music when you're driving. Is that because you like to consume SF stuff? Then is that normally when you're consuming things, it's usually some form of entertainment or something really cool, or would you say that's
yeah,
something?
yeah. I have to think it's cool or worthwhile. I have to like it in order to like commit to consuming it. But I mostly feel like if I was driving in a car and I got way too into what I was doing, like visualizing and like really thinking through the information, that I would like be unsafe on the road, like because I guess it's SE being the savior rather than any, but like doing that at the same time, I kind of get way too into it and like lose sight of what I'm doing. So it's like a safety thing. I'd rather not get too far into like my thoughts while I'm driving.
Gotcha. I had a question, but it flew out of my head. Okay, no, I remember now. So because you're an EP, one of your biggest, they said that people who are double deciders have problems with fear, and people who are double observers have problems with pain. And I've actually been noticing this now, talking to a lot of people, is that double observers, I noticed that they avoid pain, while double deciders, they have this lingering fear that's always around. So for you, for example, you said you have anxiety, but you don't know what the anxiety is coming from. But they also said that I think it was Dave. He had a video where he had a picture of an ESFP, and it says, "Don't control me, bro." So let's talk about that. Like, do you fear being controlled?
No, I don't fear being controlled. And from my perspective, my wife is kind of controlling, and my like not giving a shit if I'm being controlled, like my like passive attitude towards it, is one of the reasons why we work. I do fear to a pretty great extent. I mean, when Dave gave me my type back, he said, "You're a very IJ-ish EP because of that savior OI and the OI in a savior state and the savior sleep." It's that I'm definitely not having that EP like energy that comes from the savior play. Because like typically you'd have that consume play energy in an EP, which is very like frenetic, and I don't have that. I as long as my castle is comfortable, I don't really care who's building it or who's in charge of it.
So would you say your wife?
What?
Would you say your wife is an IJ then?
I don't know what she is. I don't want to say what she is here because I'm hoping like in the next month or so to get it back, and I don't want to look back at this video and be like, that idiot thought this.
Okay.
But no, if I had to guess what she is right now, I would say she was probably NETE. So it's actually more of like a homebody state where like, EPs can get controlling in certain situations as not to be controlled.
Your wife's an ENFP, you think?
Probably.
Like a jumper ENFP?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I think she's like
that's me. That's my type.
Oh, you're that TE version?
Yeah, I'm the weird jumper ENFP. I'm the NET version. So that's interesting that you mentioned your wife is a jumper. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. That's interesting.
I don't know. I think she's consumed play. I think she could be an IEP, but I really don't see her as an IJ because she doesn't like organizing anything. That's a very demon state situation for her. Gotcha. Like I can organize things for her if she needs them. I don't like it either, but I like it a heck of a whole lot more than she does. She's like that's like triggered situation for her.
Oh, she freaks out.
To have to organize in the real world specifically. Like go to the DMV, shit like that.
Yeah, that sounds like an intuitive person with demon sensory kind of problem. So
yeah, it sounds like that, but I just hate that she's gonna get her type back and Dave's gonna be like, obviously an SI dom. And I'm like, oh god, of course Dave would say that.
Yeah.
I think this is a good example of demon NI, is because I'm like, literally anything could happen, and it's like, no, if you're using the tools right and you're following it, if you're doing the right thing, then the possibilities are not endless. They're predictable. But like I'm like surely I'm using the tools wrong and anything could happen.
Yeah. I also noticed that you like to masculine T yourself.
That's double deciding. I'm right, I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm right, I'm wrong.
Yeah, because you've been since we started this interview, you called yourself an idiot several times already. So I'm like,
I've also called multiple people idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're not what do you call it? Like you're not biased about it. You're like, you're an idiot, I'm an idiot, we're all idiots. That's kind of like
well, T exists on a spectrum, right? Yeah. So like on the spectrum in this situation, I'm over here towards idiot.
Yeah.
But like it's not like that in all situations.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. That's I just thought it was funny. Let's talk about your blast last. So that's your biggest demon is NT, right? So would you say you have trouble presenting in presentations, or like public speaking or, doing a talk where you have to explain the logic behind something? Is that something that you struggle with?
I've noticed, I can think of two situations where that ends up being a part of my life that I've learned to deal with, because I wouldn't say that I have a problem with that. I have a problem with controlling the tribe. It's not really giving presentations. Um, I have a problem with controlling the tribe when it comes to delegating commands and things like that. I really would rather just do it myself. But in situations where like you have to be a manager of other people, like that's not an option. But when it comes to presenting to the tribe, I usually either parrot information that I've consumed, like say, oh, this philosopher said this at this time and he meant this, like, and it's literally just like what I learned about that philosopher. Um, and like, well, I'm confident that the information that I learned is correct. I'm confident that I consumed it correctly. So I'm confident that the person I learned it from said it correctly. So I'll just say what they said. And then the other situation would be giving a presentation. I'm also relatively confident in my ability to speak to people. So I guess I rely on that ST play, that I kind of just push past it until I'm likable. And so I've never really had a problem presenting to the class either. It really comes down, and I've only noticed this in the last like year or so, because I became a youth leader in a school, and what's hard is telling kids to do shit. Like telling them like to be in this place right now, like to stop doing that right now, that we're going to do this soon, and that everyone has to do this, blah, blah, blah. It's very difficult. And I don't know what the hell made me decide to do that, but I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. Everything's fine. I'll be great at it. I'm great at everything. But when it actually came down to doing it, it's like, man, it's exhausting telling people to do things. It's so exhausting to be responsible for other people's actions to the point where you have to make sure they're doing something.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to make sure other people are doing something. That's impossible. Like getting people organized around something that you need them to do. Very difficult for me, at least. I'm sure that there's blast first people that are like, that's the whole thing. Like that's the entire thing that's easy, is getting people on the same page. But that's fucking impossible. That's the only place that I really see blast last in my everyday life is my difficulties with my job, because that's what makes my job hard to me, is being responsible for making the kids do something.
So delegating is something you struggle with.
Yeah. Or forcing people to do something.
Well, you don't have to force them to do it. You can,
You do. You have to make them do it.
Well, no, because you have masculine TE, right? So your method is forcing. That's how it's gonna work for you, because you have masculine TE, right? I have feminine TE, right? So when I delegate, it's very soft. So
You can't be soft with kids, dude, because they'll take it and they'll be like, oh, this guy doesn't mean business. Like I'm actually one of the softer teachers because I can't get in that mode naturally.
yeah,
Like I see other teachers that are like, stop, do this, like, and they're very aggressive and very pointed with their statements. And like I have a lot of trouble like being that aggressive and that pointed when it comes to telling someone to do something, getting 20 kids on the same page and making sure one of them isn't screwing off in the corner doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Whereas, I mean, some other teachers make it look easy, like with their ability to yell and direct and I guess manipulate the situation, things like that.
yeah.
It's like, dude, you can't just ask them to do stuff. You have to tell them.
Well,
It's difficult.
I did volunteer work for Big Brothers before, and I work with kids, and
Mm-hmm.
I just bribe the kids, and that's how I got them to do what needs to be done. Like, so for example, we need to clean up the let's say I was teaching fitness, right? So we
Mhm.
had the gym, and we're playing some sports, so it's time to clean up the equipment. So what I do is I go up to the kids. I'm like, all right, everyone, we got to put away the equipment now. If you put away the equipment, we get to play the games that you want to play. And everyone's like rushing and putting it away, right? So it's like I'm using bribery as my technique, to get the kids like moving. you know okay, guys, if you put away the equipment now, next time we'll play we'll have a ping pong tournament. And they're like, yay, and then I'm like, sweet, okay. So it's, I don't know, I have feminine TE, right? So my method is very, I do have blast as a savior though. So that, maybe even though it's soft, it's still a savior state. So maybe that helps. Yours is demon, right? So it's gonna be a lot harder.
That might help. It also helps to know that we actually do it at the schools. So it's in a school environment
Yeah.
where they've been there for like 8 hours already, and
Yeah.
they don't want to listen to anybody. They don't listen to anyone say anything,
Yeah.
and you still got to make them do stuff.
Okay, that's valid, because then when it's after 8 hours, the kids are not there anymore.
Yeah,
They're somewhere else.
they're ready to disagree with everything you say, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's time for chaos. It's time to rebel.
it's time for chaos. It's chaos time.
Yeah, it's chaos time. Exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I got two last questions for you, and then we'll wrap up this interview. So, my first question to you is, what have you done in your life to work on your demons, whether that be your demon NI or demon TE? So, what have you done to, maybe improve on that? And what kind of advice could you give to other, ESFPs who have, demon NI or demon blast or demon T? Anything. I give you the floor.
First of all, okay, so this is advice for people with blast last, or just people who are like my type?
Like other ESFPs, essentially.
Other ESFPs.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that, I mean, I'm only 26, so I haven't really started to grow into like a responsible member of society just yet. But one of the things that I think actually did me a lot of good was I went on a bend, and I'm still a little bit on the bend, but about 2 or 3 years ago, I went on a bend learning philosophy. My wife kind of inspired me to learn philosophy, and I really like jumped in head first because, at the time I was definitely peacocking, like I understand everything, I totally get it. But it's not so much being able to learn those kinds of complicated NT and F concepts. It's more about what it teaches you about thinking rightly. And by thinking rightly, I mean, like, is the thought process true? Whenever you say, like, oh, this is the thing I should be doing, this is the best thing, I'm right, I know what I'm talking about, you can you break down your own argument in like 3 easy steps? It's like, is it sorry, I need to swallow. Okay.
No.
Thinking rightly, as in being able to think through an argument to the thing that you're presenting. And I want to say, before I started doing that, I just always thought I was right, never disagreed with myself, and was just full force on what I liked and what I thought was the best thing. And whatever I thought was probably right in most situations, until I learned what it meant to think rightly, from like Kant and Socrates. And like, if I start talking about them, I will definitely be peacocking. I'll be like, yeah, I know this, I know that, I know this. That's not the important thing. It's not the information you get so much as what you learn along the way about thinking. Because I guess it's like that NT that I was missing my whole life, because SF was just like, I'm right, I'm great. And NT, learning about it, it was like a whole new world. And then I consumed up to the point where it was like above me. where like I couldn't get anything else from it because that's not like a natural state for me.
Yeah.
But it filled in a lot of the blanks in my thinking where I was able to realize when I was wrong before I started talking, or that I was wrong before I presented the information. Like a really easy one to do would just be to go like a crash course on YouTube and just watch their philosophy thing until you're sick of it. But it's also just the style of arguing, of cognitive fallacies and things like that. Like A plus B does not equal C, like arguments like that. Like when you're making them, when you're hearing them, when the information being given to you is false, just because you like it doesn't make it true, and just because you think it doesn't make it right. Things like that. Like I know that sounds so dumb if you're like an NT or an NF, but my dumb monkey brain was like, if I like it, it must be great. And learning that was like a whole chapter in my life of like learning to think well rather than just think that I'm great in the things that I think are great.
Yeah, that's awesome,
So,
man. No, because like for me it's the opposite. I'm NT savior, right? So I need to do. I have to be more like you. I have SF last, right? So I need to think. I like it. That's good enough. No reasons required. You know, like
I mean, when that's everything, man, like it's not enough. Like, but like, cause I was stuck in this loop, and if I had any friends left, they'd tell you that the problem is that I was stuck in a loop of me being so sure that I was right about the thing that I liked,
yeah,
and then TE jumping in and being an asshole to protect it.
right.
And so I had to get into this stage in my life where my wife was like, you're wrong, and I don't want to slap her across the face.
No.
So I have to learn why I'm wrong. I had to give like the TE like the basic like tools to be able to like work through that kind of loop.
Yeah.
That kind of like a loop of like, no, sometimes you are wrong, and sometimes you just like it because you like it, not because it's the best.
Yeah. So you have to give a reason to why you like something also. Like you have to at least provide some reason.
It's like I could think of a million reasons on why I thought something was great, but none of them were objectively true reasons. And I needed to be able to evaluate my arguments objectively.
My last question to you is, I have functions that you don't have. I have NE and SI. Do you have any questions about functions, other functions that you might not have or that you don't have?
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of questions about functions I don't have, because I was looking through whenever I announced my type on the Facebook groups, the ESFPs were like one of us, and they like invited me to one of their like conversations, like in like a Facebook conversation. And I can see the differences so clearly between myself and the other ESFPs, like where like this person's my tribe twin, but like the only difference between us is feminine sensing. But like I can see so clearly what that difference is whenever they describe something of visual significance to them and I don't relate to it, even though it's not necessarily what they like versus what I like, but rather the way that they perceive the same exact thing. And for that little coin to make that much of a difference, and in just the same way that we perceive the same thing, I can't imagine, like, that person has the same functions as me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess if I had a question, it would be, when you gather concepts, are you gathering them because you like them, or are you gathering them because you think they are interesting? Because that's something my wife says a lot, is she says, this is an interesting topic. And I think well, it's not really in the realm of possibility. Or I guess the best way is to give an example. To give you a bunch of sensory. She was telling me about this lady who thought she felt the moment that her husband died, or her son died, because he died in Iraq, and she was like, ugh, at the moment that he died or something, and she was like, I felt my son die, and I was like, no, she didn't. She's either mistaken or lying. She's literally either mistaken or lying. There's no other option. She's mistaken or she's lying. And my wife got upset. She's like, isn't this just interesting to think about? And I'm like, I guess, but she's either mistaken or lying. I mean, I guess it's like whenever you find a concept that has no bearing in reality and no usefulness to you, does the fact that it's interesting really bear the brunt of the weight to consuming it?
Yeah, if it's interesting, why not? Why not?
I don't know, man.
It's it's not ST though. It's not like a fact. It's just like it's a story and it's fascinating. It doesn't have to. I think with any you want to explore the possibility that that could possibly be true, even though it's probably not going to be true, not even close. But maybe it's like if your wife does have NF consume, right? So it's going to be very woo woo as a result, right? So it's like maybe there's something to that story. Maybe we have some kind of connection that you can explain. Like I mean, like I said, I don't. I'm NF, right? So I mean I'm not NF. I'm NET, but I do have NF as my consume also. So when people tell me this stuff, I don't disregard it. I just say, oh, this is woo woo bullshit, right? Like I think about it first. I'm like, I wonder if there's something into this, or is it complete crap? Like I think about it first. Like for you, it's like, yeah, it's obviously crap. Like you know. So yeah.
I mean, I like concepts. I mean, this whole thing that I've learned with personality theory is a concept, but
Yeah.
it's because of its possible applications to reality, I guess, that I like it.
Yeah.
Whenever I feel like you can't get anything from a concept, like I feel like there's no point in consuming it. But then it's just like concepts I like are the ones I consume.
Yeah.
But on a more real level, it's that it makes more sense to explore the possible than it does the impossible.
I guess that makes sense for if from a sensory standpoint. Um,
Yeah.
I'm okay with exploring both, but I guess no, it's interesting though because I'm learning from you, right? So, by the way,
Yeah.
completely off topic. You look the way you talk shit is very similar to Jonah Hill. I don't know if you've ever gotten that.
I haven't even heard about Jonah Hill in like a decade.
Yeah, I was thinking like when you start going on massive rants and you start talking smack, I was like, I feel like I've felt this vibe before somewhere, and even the way you look has a similarity to Jonah Hill, right? So
Dude, it's so weird because like when I objectively think about this conversation, I'm like, dude, you just been being like an aggressive prick the whole time. But like inside, I'm like, I feel like it's a very thoughtful situation, a very vulnerable situation to talk about your own life.
yeah,
And like, obviously, you're not pushing me in any direction whatsoever.
yeah,
You're not telling me to do or not do anything. You're not trying to set me off or do anything.
no,
I'm literally just of my own accord setting myself off
yeah,
and like not being vulnerable for whatever reason.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. That is weird, eh? That is weird.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do that, right? Like, and no one, told. I mean, no one told you to do that. You
Yeah.
voluntarily did that. Like even like I think what threw me off the longer we talked was like when we first started talking, you were like very soft spoken, like more gentle, more soft. And then the more you got into it, the more aggressive you became, and now you're like on a massive rant, right? Like massive shit talking, right? I mean, I know I love it though. I think it's absolutely hilarious, and like in a good way. It's really funny. but then I was like, oh, like no shit, you're double masculine. Like it's like you know like
Inside, I feel so squishy.
yeah
Like I feel so soft. I feel like my thoughts are they're very squarely in like NF self land. Like whenever they tell the stories of like the soft, squishy INFP type person, I'm like, that's me. I'm that soft, squishy INFP person.
yeah
I'm so soft and squishy, and my thoughts are so free and flowy.
yeah
It's like if I had to paint myself as a protagonist, that's the kind of protagonist I paint myself as.
yeah
It's like clearly that's not the case objectively, but like my subjective experience of the world comes from that like place of like FI sleep.
yeah
It's like I feel like most people would type themselves based on what their sleep is
yeah
because of that situation. Like especially if you have a double masculine or double feminine sleep,
yeah
like that really like cements for you your self-image of yourself. It's like I don't know why I'm talking like this. I don't know why I'm being so masculine. Internally, that's not what's happening at all. This is all just like outside of myself, beyond my control. I don't know what's going on. Inside, I'm still vulnerable and scared and anxious and soft and squishy. And only my wife understands me and all this other stuff.
yeah.
So I don't know how it happens.
The other thing too is that you don't come across very consumed sleep. Like you're very. It seems like you're very extroverted actually. Like you know, like obviously we're doing an interview, so obviously you're the one that should be doing most of the talking. But it's the moment you get on this like rant tangent, like you're like unstoppable. You're like a bulldozer. You know, in a good way. It's fun. I no, it's hilarious though. Like it makes you likable. But it's just like insane. Like it just makes you seem very extroverted. It doesn't make you seem introverted at all. You know. I don't know if anyone's
Yeah,
ever you.
I if I had to put myself, I have at times thought I was an extrovert before. Of course, I learned in objective personality that extrovert is all the fucking way over here and introvert is all the fucking way over. Okay, I just pointed in the same direction. Okay, so I'm saying that like really only sleep consume is like the classic introvert, and really only play blast is like the classic extrovert.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhere in the middle, like most of us are, but it's really because in front of a camera, I guess in an interview, you're in play blast mode, especially if like the person you're interviewing is sat across from you. Because in my video that I sent to Dave and Shan, I was actually really introverted, really consumed sleep, really savior state, and they could tell that was my savior state because I was calm while I was doing it. They're like, oh yeah, I can see this guy's saviors because he's been calm this whole time. This is the state he was in.
Yeah.
But then when I sent my email, I was in full fucking demon like blast mode. I was like, this is the shit that's going on. I can't feel anything in my body without freaking out. My fucking friends are doing this. Like I don't like that. I can't help but be lazy all the time. And like so the long email I sent them was almost totally demon state. So they had savior state in video of me just talking at the camera and going like this and talking like that and saying this, and I was calm. And then they had like the demon state of me like angrily typing into a keyboard. And so I guess you're getting a mix of both.
Yeah, I guess you're in a demon state because you've been spiking quite high when you start telling like these stories. So no, it's good.
And I'm talking. If I'm making myself do this, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not like disagreeing with me or anything. I'm just like, this is how I am. Some of the time I'm being an asshole. I guess I should go into that and be an asshole. But really, like many times I just type myself as FI and a savior, and I was like, that's me. I'm that.
Yeah.
I'm the like feminine inner world like person. And I was right. I am feminine inner world, but I thought it was like purely savior, because I thought I didn't want to consume anything new. But I mean, consuming new things is like all I do, and it's just has to be what I like. I don't know. I don't know how I expected myself to be, but I assume that this is how I am. This is how most people see me, is they see me like how you're seeing me.
Yeah.
And I'm observing myself through the eyes of you as an interviewer and being like, damn, like,
No,
damn, that's really
no, dude, it's good though.
spiky.
You're gonna be that person that's never gonna be boring to hang out with though. Like, you know, because you're just like going nuts, right? Spiking and shit, you know. Oh, like, you know, you're not that boring person to chill with. Like you're gonna be exploding on everyone, you know, double masculine style, and you know, and then that's like, well, shit, this person's fun to hang out with, you know, like.
I almost want to be embarrassed, but I'm like, no, I'm being pretty accurate. Like, this is pretty.
No, because like,
This is
okay,
pretty legit.
like every time Dave talks about like someone that's double masculine, he'll always say, "I love double masculine people. They're so funny," you know. And then, yeah, and you know, he is right. I'm talking to you right now. I'm like, man, when you go on a rant, it's really funny. It's like, you know, it's not, don't take that the wrong way. It's in a good way, you know. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, for the most part, I don't go on rants about people in a negative way. I mostly go on rants about like things that I don't like because they're observer freakouts for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
But internally, I feel like a decider because I get hurt by people
Yeah.
more often than I get hurt by things. Who gets hurt by things? But
I do. I have anti-last, man. So I get hurt by I can't tell you how many times I trip over shit or like stub my toe on something or like bump into the wall. Like, you know, so
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I more have a problem with like stumbling into like being wrong. Like stumbling into like a situation where like I'm totally misrepresenting everything and totally thinking wrongly about like a concept, and I'm working my way through it, and my wife has to be like, no, this is stupid, that's retarded. Let me guide you, let me hold your hand through this concept. Like we're gonna make it. And I'm like, oh, everything's wrong, everything's bad, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. And she's like, you have a tummy ache, everything's okay, you have indigestion.
Man, I think the most intense interaction you would ever have is like if you had to like interact with someone that had double masculine NT, like double masculine like INTJ, NT, or ENTJ or something, and you have double masculine player.
That's the thing, is that one of the things I learned in philosophy is that it's a concept called epistemic equal. And you don't fucking argue with someone who's not your epistemic equal. And that goes both ways. If you know you're smarter than someone, and you're like, I'm going to crush this guy like a bug, feel the full brunt of my intellectual, like, you know, daggers, like, you're an asshole. You're clearly being a dickhead. And everyone around you is going to know it, that you just argued with someone who's not your epistemic equal.
Yeah.
And epistemic equal meaning someone who knows as much as you do about the thing you're arguing about. So by the same token, if you go to argue with someone who knows way more than you about what you're trying to argue with them about, you're going to look like an idiot, and you're going to look like the bad guy in the situation, no matter what you do. So, I mean, I've gotten into some situations where, like, I'm like, this guy is in NT land. He clearly knows more about me than this thing. I'm going to back off.
Yeah.
And luckily I learned that shit when I did, because I'm sure it would have gotten me in a lot of trouble up until now. Like, there's a couple times where I wanted to argue with Dave about some things, and I was just like, nope, I'm going to listen to his wisdom. He knows about this way more than me. And I'm about to argue with someone who's, for lack of a better term, my epistemic equal.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it either makes you or them look like a dick and nothing gets done.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, is that being blast last, it's kind of like your final form. So you take it really, really seriously. So whenever you finally get to that place of blasting, you're like, I've done the consume, I've done the sleep, I've done the play, it's time to blast. You know, you gotta listen to me. This is really important to me.
Do you watch Dragon Ball?
Um,
No.
I've consumed a lot of Dragon Ball related things, but never in like a, I don't know. I watched it as a kid.
No, because I was gonna say, you know, Frieza's final form is like this ultimate.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So your last animal is actually your final form.
Yeah, Frieza's final
Because
form.
when you finally get to it, it's like this little bitty like gem of like whatever that is.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. There was a video that Dave did that kind of showed the way the animals work, and it's kind of like a Venn diagram within a Venn diagram within a Venn diagram, and like that last animal is the last one there, and within that narrow spectrum of things, you can actually do that a lot. Like if it's in the narrow spectrum of where your other animals exist, then someone who's blast last can blast a lot. Someone who's play last can play a lot. If it's within the narrow spectrum of what other things cover. And so I catch myself doing that all the time, that I'm blasting and it's something I've already consumed, slept, and played, and I'm like, this is super important. This is the most important thing in the whole world. Everyone should listen to me. And like my brother's, he's blast first, so he's like, you have the floor. Like this is not important. This is whatever. Say your piece. I've got 20 more pieces to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up this interview, I just want to say the word of the night is idiot.
Masculine demon TE. They're an idiot, I'm an idiot, they're an idiot, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I wish I had a word counter. How many times you said the word idiot? It's like such intensity. Logan, thanks for doing the interview, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So bye everyone. Thanks again to Logan here. I'm gonna stop the recording and